Hello everyone and welcome to the lecture on AWS CodeDeploy. So this lecture will contain all these topics. What is AWS CodeDeploy? AWS CodeDeploy key benefits, deployment options, EC2 on-premises deployment, AWS Lambda deployment, Amazon ECS deployment, deployment types, in place and blue-green, in deployment type in place, then blue-green on EC2, blue-green on Lambda and ECS, deployments on EC2 on-premises compute platform, and deploying on Amazon ECS application with CodeDeploy. So first one, AWS CodeDeploy. What is AWS CodeDeploy? CodeDeploy streamlines the deployment process by automating application deployments to various targets, including Amazon EC2 instances, on-premises instances, serverless Lambda functions, and Amazon ECS services, Elastic Container Services. CodeDeploy handles a nearly unlimited variety of application content, making it a versatile tool for deploying different types of applications and files. With CodeDeploy, you can easily deploy code, serverless AWS Lambda functions, web files, and configuration files, ensuring a comprehensive application deployment solution. The service also supports the deployment of executables, packages, and scripts, covering a broad range of application components and dependencies. CodeDeploy can handle the deployment of multimedia files, allowing you to include rich media content in your applications. Application content stored in Amazon S3 buckets, GitHub repositories, or Bitbucket repositories can be seamlessly deployed using CodeDeploy, providing flexibility in your content storage and version control. One of the key benefits of CodeDeploy is that you do not need to modify your existing code to start using the service, making it easy to adopt and integrate into your current development workflow. So key benefits of AWS CodeDeploy. CodeDeploy allows you to deploy traditional server-based applications, serverless AWS Lambda functions, and Amazon ECS container applications, providing flexibility for various application architectures. CodeDeploy automates application deployments across development, test, and production environments, scaling with your infrastructure to deploy to one or thousands of instances seamlessly. For EC2 and on-premises applications, CodeDeploy minimizes downtime by performing rolling updates across instances. You can specify the number of instances to update at a time. Blue-green deployment installs the latest revision on replacement instances, rerouting traffic when needed. CodeDeploy tracks application health based on configurable rules. If error occurs during deployments, you can automatically or manually stop and roll back the deployment, ensuring application stability and minimize the impact of failed deployments. You can launch and track deployment status through the CodeDeploy console or AWS CLI, receiving reports on when each application revision was deployed and to which EC2 instances, providing centralized visibility and control. CodeDeploy is platform agnostic, working with any application, and allows you to reuse your setup code easily. It can also integrate with your existing software release process or continuous delivery toolchain, making adopting straightforward. If you have multiple applications using the EC2/on-premises compute platform, CodeDeploy can deploy them concurrently to the same set of instances, streamlining the deployment process for multi-application environments. Okay, code deployment compute platforms overview. So there are three platforms which are supported. I'll be covering each one of them separately in the upcoming slides. So one is you have Lambda functions, Amazon EC2, and ECS task set, Elastic Container Service task set. So it currently supports these three platforms: EC2 on premises and AWS Lambda. Okay, so first we'll see EC2 on premises, which are basically servers or Linux boxes or Windows boxes or some other operating system machines. So CodeDeploy can deploy applications to Amazon EC2 cloud instances, on-premises servers, or a combination of both. Applications can include executable files, configuration files, images, and others. Deployment using the EC2 on-premises compute platform can manage traffic direction to instances using either an in-place deployment, which is updating existing instances, or a blue-green deployment, which is basically launching new instances and redirecting traffic. So this is the first platform type. Next is Lambda. CodeDeploy can deploy updated versions of Lambda functions in a serverless compute environment managed by AWS Lambda, which provides a high availability compute structure and handles all administration of compute resources. During a Lambda function deployment, you can manage how traffic is shifted to the updated versions by choosing a canary, which is a small percentage of traffic initially. So canary is small percentage of the total traffic. And second, linear, which is gradually increasing traffic. Or third type is all at once, which is immediate shift configuration. So I'll be covering all this also in later slides. Third is Amazon Elastic Container Service. So CodeDeploy can deploy Amazon ECS containerized application as task sets. So in ECS they are called as task sets, which are groups of tasks that run the same container image and configuration. CodeDeploy performs blue-green deployment for ECS by installing an updated version of the application as a new replacement task set, rerouting production traffic from the original task set to the replacement task set. Similar to Lambda deployments, you can manage how traffic is shifted to the updated ECS task set during a deployment by choosing either a canary, which is a small percentage, linear, which is gradual, or all at once configuration. Okay, let's see deployment types. So first we'll see in place. So first I'll just cover the overview. So in place and blue green. So there are two types. So in place will be I'll be covering. In place means it will replace the existing instances. Second, we have the blue green, and blue green is supported for all three. But in place you cannot use in place for the ECS and Lambda. So Lambda and ECS does not support in place. In place is supported for EC2 only, and blue green is supported for all three. So in place only EC2, blue green all three, and in place not for ECS and Lambda. So I'll be covering more details in the upcoming slides. So first, in place deployments stop the application on each instance, install the latest revision, start the new version, and validate it. Load balancers can deregister instances during deployment and restore them after completion. Only EC2 or on-premises servers or on-premises machines compute platforms support in place deployments. So okay, yeah. So second one, AWS Lambda and ECS deployments are not compatible with in-place deployment type offered by CodeDeploy. Okay, next one is deployment types blue-green on EC2. So in a blue-green deployments on an EC2 on-premises instances in the original environment, deployment groups are replaced by a different set of instances, replacement environment. This involves provisioning replacement instances, installing the latest application revision, optional wait time for testing and verification, and registering replacement instances with load balancers to read out traffic. Original instances are deregistered and can be terminated or kept running for other purposes. So this is specifically talking about blue-green on EC2. So this is how it takes place. So you have a load balancer, you have an application running, and you create replacement instances, and you route traffic from old target group to the new target group, and first you will validate and all. If everything goes fine, you will change the load balancer to reroute to the other second target group. Next is blue-green on Lambda and Elastic Container Service. So first is let's see for blue-green deployments on Lambda or ECS compute platforms. So both are same technology or same methodology. Traffic is shifted incrementally to the updated versions according to a canary, linear, or all at once deployment configuration. So first we have to have a deployment configuration, and based on that outcome, it can be canary, linear, or all at once. There is a deployment configuration. We will go to the from blue, we'll go to the green. Okay, and blue-green deployments can also be performed through AWS CloudFormation, where traffic is shifted from current resources to updated resources as part of a stack update. Currently, this option is only supported for ECS blue-green deployments. So what happens in CloudFormation? CloudFormation spins up your ECS cluster, ECS task set, and the containers and the backend infrastructure, and then CloudFormation will have some checks, and then it will only do the job of moving the traffic from blue to the green. So it's all automated via infrastructure as a code tool like CloudFormation. Okay, let's say deployments on EC2 on premises compute platform. So here so how it takes care, like in deployments in EC2 and on premises, what are the steps basically? So you will have what to deploy. You will have application version number, revision 1, 2, 3, and you will choose at what rate to deploy. So deployment configuration. So as I talked about, it is linear, canary, and blue, and all at once. Yeah. So three options are there. So I'll just repeat. First one is canary. So you test a small percentage, and then you have the linear, which is gradual and all at once, and then finally you will say where to deploy. Then you have a deployment group, which is basically instance. So in that in this particular code deploy configuration, there will be deployment group. So you will have a set of instances and auto scaling group. So this both can be part of a deployment group. So it will say where to deploy. Okay, this is how you will do for EC2 or on-premises servers. And I will talk about this in the next slide, the detailed step. So you have create application, deployment group, deployment config, and I will talk about it next. Okay, so first is you create an application, give it a unique name that identifies the revisions and compute platform. CodeDeploy use this to reference deployment components. You set up a deployment group. So you choose in place or blue-green deployment. Specify instances using tags and or auto scaling groups. Ensure instances are configured and have the CodeDeploy agent installed. Then you have configure options. You set up Amazon SNS notification for events, alarm-based deployment management with CloudWatch, automatic rollbacks, and deployment configuration. It can be simultaneous deployments, success failure conditions, etc. Then you upload revision. You include files, scripts, and an appsec file. So in CodeDeploy, the YAML file is known as appsec.yaml. So this file with deployment instructions upload to Amazon S3 or GitHub or code commit. Then deploy revision. The CodeDeploy agent on each instance copies the revision, unbundles it, and executes the deployment as per the app specification file, which is appsec.yaml. Then you check results and redeploy as needed. So monitor deployment for success. If issues arise or changes are needed, create a new revision and redeploy to the same deployment group. Okay, seeing the similar procedure for deploying on ECS with CodeDeploy. So you create a CodeDeploy application. You specify a name and choose the Amazon ECS compute platform for the application, which references deployment components. You set up a deployment group, configure the group name, ECS cluster and service with CodeDeploy controller, listeners, target groups, deployment settings, triggers, alarms, and rollback behavior. You specify an appsec.yaml file. So you include the task definition, container name, and port mappings for traffic routing, and Lambda functions for any lifecycle hooks. You use YAML JSON and store it in S3, and you can trigger it via console CLI or SDK. Deploy the application revision. So CodeDeploy reroutes traffic from the original task set to the replacement task set using target groups. An optional test listener can serve test traffic before rerouting. Then you check deployment results, review the deployment outcome to ensure success and adherence to expectations. And that's all. Thanks for watching.